was going a mile and a 16th on the dirt, which we'll show you back at Churchill Downs. This was this past year on the 29th of May, where she finished second, showing speed, and finished second to Envoûtante, the winner of the race. Envoûtante was third in the Grade 1 Ashland. She went on to win the Remington Park Oak. So she was second to a quality, classy, graded stakes type caliber filly in Envoûtante. Now, since then, she faced the likes of Paris Lights. I thought that allowance race probably came up a lot tougher. And then she seemingly really wasn't firing her best races. So what do you do in that case? Well, you put her on the turf and see if she's any bit better. But, Scott, I think she's just as capable going a distance of ground on the dirt. So I'll take my shot with Rhea Monk as the top selection, the 5-year-old mare. I'll go 2-6-5. Glamour Girl, of course, rounds things out, beating a nice filly in Villanelle, who you mentioned came back to win here.
These are good races. As you said at the top of the show, there's so much depth to each and every one of these races, and the 6 is likely going to be the short price favorite, but you make the case for the 2. We touched on Glamour Girl and the run that she had against Villanelle, who's come back came out of that race to win here at Keeneland. Another good betting opportunity, and do keep in mind that race number 4 does start the late pick 5, with it being an 8-race card here today. So that's the 4th race. I'm going 6. Gabby's going 2. Let's move over to race number 5. This race does start the late pick 4. We'll give you our tickets here in just a second. Scratch the outside 2. She's a Deal. The 9 and the number 10 horse, Stripping Santa Guapa, is the 5-2 morning line favorite in this spot. That is the first-time starter for Brad Cox and Don Alberto stable, the filly by Empire Maker. But I'm going to go to the number 5 horse, Take Charge Row, for Brian Lynch, the filly by Will Take Charge. She ran on debut sprinting at Gulfstream Park, going 6.5, and then her follow-up race was this effort, and it was 6 months ago. That's the one concern, but I'm going to trust that Brian Lynch has her ready to go. This was a marked improvement off of her debut. She's going to rally up and only be beaten 3/4 of a length on the turf course there at Gulfstream Park. At this point, it doesn't look like she's making much progress, but she'll kick it in here to get up into that 3rd slot. So if she can improve off of this or run back to it and maybe even have a little bit better early position in this race, I think that she's definitely worth a look. Take Charge, Row, whatever it may be, the daughter of Will Take Charge for Mr. Brian Lynch. And then the 6 horse, Rearranged, for Vicky Oliver. Last race at Kentucky Downs, chuck that one out. Hope that this filly can get back to her races 2 and 3 back. We've seen a lot of horses come off of poor runs at Kentucky Downs and bounce back with good ones here at Keeneland Racecourse. And then Palamos, the number 2 horse for Graham Motion. I'm going to dig into the pedigree here. Quishi, the mare of this filly, the first dam, she was the Waya Stakes winner during her racing career. She was 4th in the Grade 1 Flower Bowl. She ran in the 2013 Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. This is a full sister to Mrs. Stippy, who was 2nd in the Waya and 2nd recently in the TVG Stakes at Kentucky Downs. Good pedigree. Graham's familiar with this family line. Watch out for the 2 Palamos, first time out at 8-1.
She was also 2nd in the Grade 1 Flower Bowl to Sister Charlie. Mississippi is a pretty serious horse. And that's where, Scott, you and I kind of saw this race differently. You liked the horses with race experience a bit more. I actually like the first-time starters in here. So I'll go with the 4 Santa Guapa on top, but also with the 2 Palamos in my second selection. Santa Guapa, this 3-year-old filly by Empire Maker, she's a half to Florida Mar, who won first time out and went on to be Grade 1 placed at 2. Now, that was on the dirt. Well, I think it's interesting why this filly does show up in her first start at 2 turns on the turf, but she seems to have been working well. It's Florent Giroux, it's Brad Cox for Donna Alberto. So I did land on her, but the 2, Palamos, probably has a better pedigree to suggest that she starts here 2 turns on the turf. So yeah, I mean, of the horses who have experience, I probably prefer the 6 Rearrange, but she's starting to rack up those defeats, and I don't know if this is the easiest maiden special weight field that she's faced to date.
They're never easy here at Keeneland, bottom line. It's another good race, another strong way to start a multi-race exotic, as we talked about. That race does start the late pick 4. We'll get into that in just a second, but before we talk pick 4, let's show the Clocker report for this afternoon, and it does start with race number 5 about the filly, the debuter for Don Alberto, Santa Guapa, just 10 days ago on the 4th of October, a 5/8 workout, 1 minute and 2/5, 9 best of 33. Breezed and Company with a 3-year-old Spa City who ran last in the Tampa Bay Derby. The trainer, 19% in 2-turn turf debuters, that is Brad Cox. And then Dovima in race number 6 on the 3rd of October, worked a half a mile in 48, and that was 15 best of 104 works at that distance. Local Breeze was sharp. New Pilot must work out a trip from the 1 hole. So race number 5, Santa Guapa, that first-time starter, and then Dovima, the number 1 in race number 6, the focus of our Clocker report. All right, late pick 4, another strong opportunity, and this one is really interesting, Gabby, given the fact that you've got the last race. I couldn't tell you with confidence one horse in that last race. This is a race with chaos written all over it to provide a big payoff in the end.
It is. Let's hope we get that far, though, because the earlier races aren't easy either. I have a $36 ticket. If you have a bigger bankroll, I would suggest using more horses in the last leg, as Scott mentioned. But race 5, we kick it off with that maiden special weight race. I prefer the 2 first-time starters, but of course I'll back myself up with the other 2 horses who have starts. The 5 Take Charge Row coming in off that 6-month layoff, and the 6 Rearrange, who might just be best today, but I actually thought this race came up a bit tougher than her previous maiden special weight appearances. Now, the 6th race, Dovima, Chad Brown, he's had some bad luck with post position draws. I feel like he either draws the rail post or he draws the way outside, and as is the case in this race, he has the 1 and he has the 12 ballot initiative. Otherwise, I probably would have singled this filly, but she closes from off the pace. Rail post at 6.5 furlongs definitely is not ideal, so I'll back it up with the 3 Movie Moxie, Eddie Keneally, and then the 5 Fast Chica, a long shot play in there. I think she could turn it around for trainer Steve Asmussen. And then in the 7th race, it's a featured event, 2 other than allowance race, using the 4 and the 9 Lexi on the Move, and then my top selection, the 9 Regal Beauty. As we get to the nightcap, 4, 6, 7 for me. I prefer Montaigne. Just with the drop in class, showed speed against tougher last time out. The 6 Champers, who obviously is another one that's dropping for Bob Hess, and then the 7 Oak Room. But Scott, I think you could also use the 8 and the 9 in there. If you can afford it, maybe hit the all button by the time you get to the last race.
Well, Gabby, that's what I went ahead and did, and it's going to cost a little bit more, but it's 8 horses in that 9th race with the scratches in that maiden 15 claimer. So I'll go 4 deep to start. Palamos, the 2, Santa Guapa, the likely favorite, the firster for Brad Cox, Take Charge Row, and then Rearrange. So I don't think really any surprises in that leg. As far as race number, as far as race number, these race numbers are wrong. Sorry to call this out, but it's race 5 through 8. That's the sequence here this afternoon. Race 5 is 2, 4, 5, and 6. Race number 7, I'll go just 1 and 3 in here. Dovima, who ran against Lady Rocket last time out, and that was a filly that we saw just win on the 9th of October right here at Keeneland in a very good race. I believe she's the filly that beat Ocean Breeze in that nightcap, the filly that was highly thought of and ran a big race in there. So you've got to respect the form of Dovima, but like you said, the inside draw is less than ideal. Movie Moxie, she's been favored each and every one of her starts and is yet to get a victory, but she's run against good fillies. We talked about Paleo Flag. That was that July 9th race for her at Keeneland, where she came up just the next short to that Stone Street runner. So 1 and 3 in race number 6. As far as race number 7, I'll go 4 and 5 in that featured allowance race. I do think that these are very straightforward horses in this spot. Lexi on the Move and Charming Lady, they'll likely vie for favoritism. If you really wanted to stretch it out a little bit further, if you have this kind of budget with hitting the all button, I would say you've got to give respect to Perfectly Claire, the 8 in race 7, as well as the filly that Gabby likes in there, who's 10-1 on the morning line, Regal Beauty. If she's able to win and you're alive in the nightcap, you're sitting in a really good spot. But I mean, race number 8, you have the Wesley Ward horse that was probably going to be favorite scratched out of there. You also take out the 1 who likely wouldn't have gotten much play. But all of these horses, I mean, they're looking for their friends. They're dropping off of subpar races in for 15 today. I could not even begin to tell you who's going to go off as the favorite in the nightcap. I looked at it, and I'm sitting there after about 15 minutes. This is no joke. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing looking at this? I have no idea. I have no opinion whatsoever. I'm hitting the all button, and let's get on with it. It'll cost a little bit more money, but I mean, I just would be lying to you and myself if I could tell you I would narrow it down to 1, 2, 3 horses in that eighth and final.
When you are looking at races like that, Scott, sometimes you just have to take your piece of paper, in my case, the iPad, turn it off, set it aside, revisit it later. Did you have an epiphany later?
No, I've looked at it again just now, and
You will later.
No, there is. I mean, maybe when you get a chance to look at them, that's when it'll happen. But pick 4 is underway at that point in time. You don't have that luxury. That's what makes it such a challenge. These pick 4s, and that's why you're handsomely rewarded once you pull one off. So we're gonna.
I like the strategy today.
We're gonna do it here today. I feel good about this card and this ticket. Things have started to click a little bit more for me, Gabby. It took a while. It took a while to find my feet, find my legs, whatever the term is. Best angle. I'm sticking to this multi-race exotic theme. I'm going to start with race number 6, this maiden special weight race, which features Dovima on the inside and Movie Moxie, the 2 horses that will get played. And I'm going to attack a pick 3. I'll use those 2 fillies, the 1 Dovima and Movie Moxie, and I think that races 6 and 7 are straightforward, and race 8 is not, sticking with this theme. And the pick 3 now is actually cheaper than the original ticket that I put in because of the scratches in the last 2. I'll go 1-3, and then hit the 4 horse in race number 7 as my single, and then I'll hit the all button. So if I'm right and can hit this pick 3 and the pick 4, it's going to be a very good day. You might not have to pay me back for the money you owe me from the shopping we've done in the gift shop here at Keeneland, Gabby. You might be in good shape. But let's go to Movie Moxie in her last race at Churchill Downs. This was her first race since coming back off of a bit of a freshening from July 9th to September. And here she has the lead at this stage of the game. She's the 4-5 favorite, and she gets passed late in here. She is going to win one of these maiden special weight races. She's going to find a group in which she can handle, and she'll put it all together. Because here, she's not stopping. The filly's just out finishing her, who ends up winning this race. You can see how far clear she is of the third-place finisher. Today, if it happens, it's going to be because of the post draw. I think that is such a key in looking at these races, and we've talked about it. I feel like we just repeat ourselves constantly, but we talk about it seems like every time we have a high-level sprint, one of the favorites draws the rail, and that, to me, is going to be the difference here, and that's why I'm confident in the pick 3 to go ahead and single, going 1-3-4, and then hitting the all button in the late pick 3. It's only a $10 bet.
Not bad. I like it. And if you beat Dovima, as you said, it could pay pretty nicely. I do think that Dovima is the horse to beat. We'll stick with this race. I'm sorry I copied you all day today, but it is what it is. These are the best races on the card in both of our opinions. Dovima will show you her last race where she finished 3rd. But again, this was her dirt debut. She came from back-to-back turf tries. Her turf try at Saratoga, the start before, she finished 2nd to In Front, who went on to win an allowance race in her next start at Saratoga. And then in this race, this filly wound up finishing 3rd. I thought it was an okay trip, I mean, all considering, but this was a tougher field. Lady Rocket, you mentioned, she came back to win here at Keeneland. She got a 93 buyer speed figure for that victory. And even talking to Wayne Catalano, he was shocked. He's like, my filly got a 92 buyer in that race. So those look like some pretty promising fillies. Dovima is just going to have to work out a trip from the rail under Tyler Gaffleone. So the play here is I'm going to play a trifecta. I agree with you on Movie Moxie. And the 5 Fast Chica is going to be the long shot horse that, you know, she comes into this race with a good gate drill at Ellis Park. Things did not work out for her in her debut for many different reasons, but I think she's one that looks like she's been working a little bit better since her last race, and maybe she can turn it around, and it's for good connections in Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana. So that's the way I think you could maybe make some money in this race if you get lucky with a long shot and play the trifecta.
That's race number 6. Starts the late pick 3, part of that late pick 4, as well as the late pick 5. So I hope we've sold you on today's card, because it is a very good card here this afternoon. Let's go to Tom Leach's play of the day. He likes one in the 8th. Good on you, my man, for taking a swing in this one. He's going Monte Nay, the number 8 horse, who is 6-1 on the morning line. It says 10-1 here, but may last longer in class drop. Trainer wins at 19% in maiden claiming races. Dale Roman's first time in for a tag. This horse has been gelded since his last race. He's run against good horses. You can look in his second career start, Gabby. He ran against eventual Grade 1 winner Maxfield. He shows speed and then he backs up. That speed will hang around a bit longer as he drops into this low level here today for maiden 15. Maybe he ends up being the favorite with the scratch of the Wesley Ward horse.
I don't want to call you out, but you're talking about the 8, and that was the 4, Montaigne for William Van Meter.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well,
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, well,
it happens
I'm glad
to
somebody
the best
called me
of
out. Okay, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm only saying that because it's my topic, too. Tom Leach and I are on the same page today.
We're done. I'm done. I've made enough mistakes. Hopefully that's it for the afternoon. For Gabby, I'm Scott. This is Today at Keeneland, Race 1, 105.
The following is a presentation of the Keeneland Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeneland Racecourse. At this time, we ask that you would please rise in tribute to our national anthem.